There it goes.
Welcome, THPers.
Just good enough for you, JD Talk? Ready to roll, baby.
Bringing the energy, bringing the heat.
Yeah.
All right, let's roll.
All right, everybody. THP Universe, welcome to the 2022 Morgan Cup preview show. We are here ready and live on a Thursday night. Tees hit the ground Saturday morning. I'm here joined representing really the past 3 years of Morgan Cups. Let's do a quick introduction. We'll start with the most tenured Morgan Cupper here, Canadan, the 2019 Morgan Cup winning captain. How you doing?
Why are you being so weird? You were so different 5 minutes ago. Are you
don't
drinking
forget,
coffee?
2014 Morgan Cupper. Was it for what team was it? Team.com or
no, it's Team Albatross actually.
Team Albatross. There we go.
Yeah. But I'm good.
Shorty my year.
I'm really confused. Like, I feel like our boy Scooby went straight into like I'm at work mode, and it was super threatening. Also, I don't think you correctly said hello to the masses. Respectfully, they are the lunatic fringe, and they will only identify as such. So, what's up, fam?
That's why we've got you here, keeping this rookie in line. I got big shoes to fill tonight because our fearless preview leader is busy at the moment.
Is that team right there? Whoa.
Yeah.
What?
That head cover's sick, by the way.
Yeah, boys.
All right, joining Canadan, who is welcoming the lunatic fridge as needed, is illiterate 2020 Morgan Cupper. How you doing this evening?
How's it going, my man? Thanks. Appreciate you picking up the host duties, and hello to the THP Universe. Excited to. This is one of my favorite weekends in all of THP, and excited to, mix it up with these two clowns tonight.
Can I try the JDAX special? We are live.
We are live.
Yeah, I'm not about to try and mimic JDAX. That is not my style. You're gonna get work, Scooby here. So let's talk a little bit about the Morgan Cup, big picture. THPers, lunatic fringe, getting to be tour players, treated like tour players. You get the clubs, you get the clothes, you get access to Mike Yagley and Jose Miraflor from Cobra Golf, two of the best in the business. You get all that great stuff, but I think for those of who have been around for a little bit, followed the live threads on the forum, there's a lot more behind it as well. So, Illiterate, let's start with you. What does the Morgan Cup mean?
I mean, this is a special event. I think deep down, if you were to ask Josh, this one holds a special place, to him and his tiny, cold black heart. But all jokes aside, a lot of it is about like just the friendships that you form. I mean, I go back and I think about the 2020 team that I was a part of. I came in late as a replacement. I didn't get the whole buildup, due to COVID and everything like that. But, man, I still talk to those guys almost on a weekly basis in our team chat, for the most part. And then, there's others that I talked or text with on a, weekly, daily basis almost. So, I mean, there's just, bonds and friendships that can't, that you just can't really get anywhere else. Then you top that off with the equipment that you get. This is the only, I think, like real big team event that we generally historically have gotten where you get all this equipment way ahead of time. You get to, really dial it in, fix it how you want it, and then show up and play. Not only that, you get scripted, you get your shoes, shorts or pants, depending on the time of year, quarter zips, the polos, the hats. I mean, the whole 9 yards, and you're treated like a tour player for the whole weekend. Exactly. And I think we're all decked out in our Puma Cobra gear tonight. But it's, and on top of that, if I didn't say enough already, team golf, one of my favorite things. We're going to get shamble, we're going to get alt shot, and we're going to get singles. Three of the best formats out there. And we get to watch, these THPers on the stage. So to me, it's just a amazing weekend of friendship. And then the equipment, the playing the golf, and, being treated like a tour player just tops it off. It's hard to beat.
Canadan, Morgan Cup, what you got?
Sorry, I wasn't listening. What are we doing? Yeah, I mean, Morgan Cup, obviously, we have already discussed the fact that it is by design almost a decade old at this point. But when Cobra and Puma came in and decided to refine the process and improve it to where that each team has deep access to an individual that's significant in the company, and then presented them with battle. And the funny part about that is, I know there are a bunch of guys playing golf this weekend, and they have every intentions of beating each other. The two guys that this means most to are the two guys that have to go to the office on Monday and deal with the other guy just absolutely berating them with chance of victory and success. So, for Hose and Yags, they just bring a whole different element to this experience, and it's just evolves in such an interesting way over the last couple of years.
Yeah, that was one of the takeaways for me being there, seeing how Yagli and Jose, I mean, they care so deeply about the event, the experience, getting to know the guys. Fortunate enough to play a warm-up round with Yagli and some competition. Just hearing him pick our brains all weekend about, he's taking information from the participants, just soaking it up. And then the fire in Jose's eyes when he gave us the team pep talk that morning on Saturday. They care, and they care about it, right? Because you can see the relationship that they have. They have fun with it, but yeah, I would not want to be in the office Monday morning if you're on the losing team, for sure, because the other one's going to likely crow about it at the staff meeting. All right, so
we already got questions, and we got one from Dax. Let me jump in here. It says, first time listener question: who would you rather play singles, Yags or Jose? Let's kick it to Scoob. Who would you rather play?
Well, I've played Yagli. Now it was a team setting and won, so let me take Yags. I don't want to face that Jose fire.
Homer. What a Homer thing
pick
to say. My goodness.
Dan, what do you got there?
I mean, what's the point in answering? We've already got a huge homer on the left side of the table. I may as well follow suit on the right. I mean, Yags is basically undefeated in solo play, and Jose has certainly a chip on his shoulder and sticks into it. But he also shot like high 80s today. So, what, not a big deal.
So we're talking, go ahead.
Give me Jose. I mean, I'll take Jose. I mean, because he's going to be a big favorite. I got nothing to lose. All the pressure's on him. Give me that. I'll roll. Let's do it, baby.
So can I sidebar this? Can I take this in a totally different direction? I know you're structured, Scoob, and I know this is going to hurt your work brain. This isn't that serious, so I'm just going to brutalize you right now. Everyone in the chat wants to know one thing only. Is there a 2022 Morgan Cup captain's match? It's all everyone wants to know.
I can answer that, and talked to Dax yesterday and earlier this week, and he guaranteed me the captains are facing off. Don't know if they're going to go off first, in the middle, or last, but they're definitely going to play each other.
So work mode really wished I had some kind of fireworks or celebratory clapping, cheering thing that I could put up.
This isn't PowerPoint, buddy. It's StreamYard.
There it is, the commitment from Dax.
Wow.
Yes.
He seems to be excited about it too. Dax has this interesting thing. Everyone in the chat might see the triple dots, like he's fading into the distance or the darkness or whatever it might be. That's just his. He does that for, I think, mystique. So that's intentional. It's meant to get in your head. Really, I think there is a lot of confidence there.
Is it as confident as the simple one-word answer?
And then Jeremy's like, whatever. I don't care. I'll plow through anyone who gets in my way of my 17th straight Morgan Cup victory.
Maynard. Go to Maynard's question. Let me just answer this real quick. And hopefully, JD talks. I had an energy drink earlier, so hopefully I'm bringing it a little more. I need more energy, apparently. But would I want to face Dax? Absolutely. Why wouldn't I want to face Dax? I had the opportunity to face Dan, I would face Dan. If I had the opportunity to face you, I would face you.
Wow.
It's just golf. Let's play.
I disagree.
Let's play. I like it. So speaking of playing, let's talk about what we're going to play this weekend. Let's talk about the courses these boys are going to be at this weekend. Let's talk about the format. So day one, we're going to be off at Old Waverly. From what I hear from some of the THPers that are there, the rough is going to be challenging. Heard the greens are immaculate and flat but fast. So I think you might have the opportunity to see some of those momentum swinging putts. You got Shamble and you got Altshot here. Canadan, what are your thoughts, course and format for Saturday?
I don't really know. I know our friend Chris sent us a little bit of a breakdown. I was busy tabulating the scores from today. Didn't really get a chance to look at it. So, wait, what are we giggling about?
Oh, Lord. Tabulating scores from today, and I read JD Doc saying everybody shot high 80s.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, it's interesting because this is the one thing, my takeaway every time a group of THPers get together. It's the lack of understanding or consideration that everyone's coming from a different style of grass. So to go there and to shoot your typical scores without any sort of real warm up is a really challenging thing. I know I've already seen some comments about Bermuda. I saw some stuff about 4-putting today. If that carries over into some of the courses this weekend, like that's a big deal because you win and lose everything on the greens when it's tight like this with pops in play.
Well, and I heard that this year there's no opportunity just based off tee times for either of the teams to get a practice round on the courses proper. So they're going to be playing them blind.
Subtle jab.
Yeah.
Illiterate, what are you thinking?
So, yeah, shout out to KY Golfer Chris for hooking us up with a little bit of course knowledge. I'm going to just read his kind of quick excerpt here. So this is all KY Golfer here. He said, Old Waverly, such a beautiful course, my favorite of the two. More tree line with dog legs, more rough than tall hay. And while the greens are less undulated, they're somewhat faster. For the most part, everything is right in front of you, but the rough, mainly around the greens, is very tough to chip out of. Ball sinks to the bottom just about every single time. To get the speed down of these greens is a must. It's going to be a very long day if people are having to make 10-footers to have holes. So it sounds like for the most part, it's the trees kind of shape some of the tee shots for everybody. So I'm not sure how open this course is, but it definitely sounds like it's going to be one around the greens.
The comments in the chat are amazing. I am so fond of just kicking the teeth in on Bermuda. I hate it so much. It's just so different, and it's not like you can't get comfortable with it. But here's the thing: we saw guys play today. That's great; they got one round in. But I mean, it takes time to get used to Bermuda. Absolutely takes time. Like one of the guys came from a place where Moose read his putts for him, so like obviously he's not playing on Bermuda.
Well, here's an advantage. I mean, JDax plays on Bermuda every weekend. You know, those greens at Gaylord are Bermuda. So
but he also changes putters every weekend, right?
that too. But he's got to play. He's got to play this one, and I know he's been playing it. But yeah, I mean, he's going to have an advantage. Anybody that plays Bermuda on a regular basis is going to have an advantage here of just kind of being used to it. Bermuda can be very grainy, and putting uphill and putting downhill can be very different in the sense of like where you breathe on the ball going downhill, it's going to run 15 feet by the hole potentially. And if you're trying to putt uphill, you're going to have to really hit it, especially if there's a lot of grain into it. So the greens are definitely going to play a challenge here with these Bermuda greens. So, yeah.
Then we get to switch gears a little bit. So Sunday's going to be the singles round. We're going to be at Mossy Oak. The feeling is a little bit different. A lot of tall hay. I think our friend Parrott called it gunch. Tucson Cacti said if your ball's in the tall stuff, it's basically gone. Flip side, though, there's a couple drivable holes out there. The greens are very undulating. And for any singles match that gets close down the end, the closing stretch is no joke. Long par 3, couple long par 4s. I guess the bunker on 17, if anyone's in there, you might as well just write off the hole from what I've heard from the folks down there. Mossy Oak and singles format, illiterate. What are you thinking?
So again, Chris, thank you for the notes here. I'll read his notes, kind of what he said. Another beautiful course. He said, let me preface all my info on this course by saying it mostly depends on how the wind's going to play here. So apparently, hopefully we get some wind and we get some carnage. Still has some tall hay and bunkers that are going to penalize you, but the greens are very undulated, making even short putts tough. So it sounds like, again, putting is really what this is going to come down to. If I'm the guys out there playing, I'm getting to the course a little early. I'm going to roll some putts, roll some downhill putts, roll some uphill putts, really long lags, and just really try to get a good feel of the greens and, just try to work my way around the course and keep it in front of me.
Canadan, what are you thinking? Singles, Mossy Oak, Cup in the balance?
Yeah, I mean, we're seeing that 16 through 18 is extremely tough, which I assume makes them low handicap holes, which means anyone who's giving kind of gets a little bit of a benefit there that the pops come late, so they'll have to finish early. Otherwise, it's, one of the hardest things to do with pressure, giving up a pop on a hole. You're standing at a tee box already down a stroke. That's a really challenging thing. So I think if there are guys out there who are low caps handing, then they had better put the pressure on early. If they don't, I mean, you guys all know what it's like to be out there and with something on the line, and it's not a good feeling when when you're looking at water or a giant bunker or a severely sloping green, knowing that you have to put one tight because they have a shot in hand on you.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but we also know, I think all of us, when you hit that shot, man, it's a lot of fun when you pull it off. Let's get into the teams, because we've got some low caps out there. There's going to be likely some pops for the rounds that get out there on Sunday in singles. So we'll start with Team Hackers, combined handicap 9.5. Mike Yagley from Cobra Golf is coming in at a 5.5. You got the captain, JDax, at 11.8. He's captained a team in the rivalry win against one of our co-hosts here earlier. So he's got a bit of a hot streak going.
That's a low blow to bring that up. That's something.
But it's a fact. I can't change it. Literally can't change it. So we're going to go there. Then we got Harletto Scara from Scotland. So Team Hackers definitely has an international flair. Raider Boost coming in at a 4.1. For those following the driver threads, that guy can go deep. Yukon Living, the one that has the moose read the putts, up from Canada, is 9.7. You've got Nate, less than 80, 11.6, fellow Buckeye like myself. M Ward coming in at a 5.9, the Club Twirl Master. And Magic Spell, the late addition to Hackers, when we had a health drop from Granite Roost, 18.3. So those are your Hackers this year. Canadan, what's your thought with the competitors there?
I mean, good for Wardy to get it up to 5 point whatever you just said. That's impressive.
5.9.
Kid plays about, I don't know, 13 or 14 rounds a week. So that took maybe half a month to get that done. But that it's an interesting group. Like is
that a sandbag call? I mean,
well, I don't know. I've played plenty of golf with Wardy. I think he's more than capable of shooting mid to low 70s, unless something's changed dramatically. I think that's an early advantage for him to put it all together for one weekend of golf. The funny thing about the sandbagging discussions, we all come from such different areas. Where Wardy comes from a place where he's probably going to be pretty comfortable with the types of courses we're playing this weekend. So as much as it's not a home field advantage to be there, he will see a lot of that similar style of play. Whereas someone like me or Nate G, as you mentioned, or certainly Harletto, coming from totally different climates and ground profiles, it's a big change to get into a different system. Now, the one thing that I keep thinking about is what kind of weather do we have? Because we got a bunch of guys coming in from California who've never seen a bad weather day in their life. And certainly those caps don't travel when the wind picks up or there's rain or, soggy ground, because they're not familiar, right?
Yeah, so I talked with Parrott. He said we're going to have blue skies this weekend. I'm not sure on if the wind's going to be blowing or not.
I want carnage, man. I'm not there. I want carnage.
So illiterate on Team Hackers. What are your thoughts?
I mean, I talked to Dax earlier today. We talked on the phone for about a half hour, and he's in a good place. I think he got a little bit of last minute practice in yesterday, and he's really excited to get out there and hit some balls tomorrow. See how the game is coming along. As far as Harletto Scara, I mean, this guy's been on like the last 3 Hackers teams, and finally getting to come here. Do either of you know how many miles this guy traveled to come and be here?
So I don't know the miles, but we went Scotland to San Diego to Cincinnati, Louisville, to Houston, and now Mississippi, I believe. So he has crisscrossed the nation on a 3-week kind of whirlwind THP golf tour. I mean, what an experience.
So Harletto, the distance between Scotland and Mississippi, 4,179 miles. Do you think this guy traveled that far to come and lose? No.
Let's add the depth of that. It's been over 1,000 days since his first selection to a Morgan Cup.
Right.
He's been chomping at the bit to get here. He's officially gristled. He has a little bit of extra midsection padding based on what we've shoved down his gullet over the last couple weeks. He also has a brand new nickname. It's Shelby of Peaky Blinders fame. He's everything you want to experience in this type of event because he's smiled the entire time. I suspect that when he gets out there, he's going to hit like a velvet hammer in a lot of ways. You're going to have a great time, but that kid can play. We've seen plenty of functional golf out of him, and I like his number, honestly. It's a good number to be.
Yeah. I mean, this guy technically has had 3 years of preparation for this event. It's all coming to head this weekend. I love it. As far as the rest of the guys, I mean, combined cap of 9.5. I mean, that's pretty solid. And you've got really, I mean, you got 3 guys in double digits. The rest are, single digits. I mean, that's a pretty good mix, I think, to have out there. And if I understand correctly, I think Yags is coming in his lowest handicap ever to a Morgan Cup. So he's playing some pretty strong golf, it sounds like, coming into this. So Team Hackers, I think, going to be in good shape.
Well, mentioning Yags coming in the lowest, I think that's a adequate transition over to the Paradise side this year, led by Jose Miraflor from Cobra Golf. He's coming in this week at a 3.5. I don't know if that's the lowest he's ever been, but that's, I think, 3 points lower than last year to headline the team. Working down the roster, we've got JD Tox, the People's Captain, 2-time winner, going for the three-peat, going for the Dynasty, coming in at a 5.3. Luke Martin, 93, at a 30. Canada, you'll have your time to offer comments on that.
Oh, my God, man. Did you send him a Valentine's Day card, too?
Oh, right. If only I was so lucky. Will plays golf, 3.4, the lowest cap of the group, both teams. And then you got JD Tubbs, 17 at a 16.2. He carded at least 2 birdies in Memphis, so his game seems to be traveling to Mississippi. Brown Dog at a 4.9. When we talk about the family and the community, he's got the cigars loaded. I'm assuming a couple of those are earmarked for Victory Cigars for the team to go if they get to that point. You've got Dan 44 at a 10.5, easily winning the travel sneaker game, rocking those Jordan 11s. And then MT Bloco, 18.2, one of the Arizona THP guys. He's got great taste in bourbon, maybe not so much in college football, and that rounds out your Team Paradise.
Did you say MT Bloco?
Isn't it Bloco? I mean, I got to fill in for JDax.
JT Ub and MT Bloco. Yeah, all right. He has a new nickname, too. It's Cherry.
I'm doing my best JDax impression here.
Yeah.
Canada, we'll go to you to start. Thoughts on Team Paradise?
What's the point, man? I mean, this is the weird part every year. Paradise gets all their emotional feels about being the underdog and how no one picks them and blah, blah, blah. It's endless, man. And what's weird about that is they keep winning. I at least since the last time I had something to do with it. So what's the point? Apparently they're a buzzsaw that no one talks about, and everyone wants hackers to just tell them to stop. Is that not enough? Can we just move on?
I mean, we can move on if you want to move on. I can go right to illiterate. That's fine if you said your piece on Paradise.
Yeah, I mean, listen. I agree with Canadan here. I mean, every year, I think for probably the last 2 years, we've talked about how Hackers is the favorite, Paradise is an underdog, and they always kind of come out here. And I will say, hat tip to JD Talks, Jeremy. He's got his guys ready. Yeah, blah blah blah. Exactly. He's got his guys ready every year. He's he's apparently doing something right. But I think the odds are spot on. I think he did really good with them, Scoob. I mean, but yeah, I mean, I think it's hard to not make Hackers the favorite, but there is something there about Team Paradise. Every year they come in, they with a little chip on the shoulder, and they're ready to roll. They bring it.
I mean, I hear the blah, 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 but then you look at the Hackers Paradise poll and, Hackers are garnering 55% support, amongst the forum.
Can I tell you a little story about that?
Yeah, let's hear it. I'm here for story time.
Just mute yourself for a minute. So I remember back in my Morgan Cup days, the first thing I told the guys is just be present, man. If you put the time into your game, it'll show up with you. But more importantly, just have a great time in the forum. Let the lunatic fringe get involved in your experience, and you'd be surprised how many of those folks want you to do well, and they go to the event with you. I mean, we've got some big, popular, common posting names on Hackers, and we've got the technically two foreign sensations on the team. Of course, there's a big hit, right? We've got Mr. Preview Show himself leading the team. We've got the little guy who sits on his phone on a tee box for all of us to enjoy and giggle at in M Ward. Like, we got big names, dude, and not to mention Yagley. I mean, what a guy that Mike Yagley is. Since we're absolutely blowing up the conversation of how much we adore our teams, Scooby, we may as well just talk about the fact that these guys have put it up. They put up post numbers. They made sure the THP knew what they were doing, and they came out on top from a favoritism perspective. This has nothing to do with golf. This has everything to do with the actions prior to the event. So you can say strongly that, this is a favoritism thing or it's a underdog story. It's not, man. The people have spoken. Hackers is the team from the website.
And everybody likes red. Like, come on.
I like blue, actually.
I know blue's your color.
I mean, from a color standpoint, I'm just curious to see if JDAX noticed the changing color on the banners down at the bottom. If we're going to start talking colors. But I'm glad that we had the little passion, right, between Paradise, between Hackers, figured out exactly where Dan's stripes lie for this weekend, which is great.
Do you know that, actually?
Sounded like it.
We haven't gotten the picks yet.
That's fair.
I haven't said anything about who I'm selecting.
Well, in that case, let's start breaking down. Let's start breaking down the matches a little bit. Let's go there, and we'll start with Shamble. So on the Shamble matches, match one out of the gate, you've got Yagley and Harloto Skara going against Luke Martin and Will's Play Golf. A low mid, low high. You've got the Shamble setup going. So if putting a high out in the fairway, that changes the dynamics. Illiterate, we'll start with you. What are your thoughts on match one?
I mean, I love what Dax did here. The guy traveled across the pond. He puts them with Yags. I love it. So that's just kind of a bonus. But I really like this pairing. You got a 5.5. I don't know a whole lot about Harloto's game, but I know Yags, hasn't missed a fairway since the Carter administration. So I really like this, him setting him up in some good spots. And, again, I think this is going to come down to short game. I think a lot of times what you find is that higher handicaps either probably struggle off the tee or they really struggle with short game. So Will's going to have, I think in this particular match, Will's going to have to really carry this match quite a bit unless these pops, I don't know how many pops it's going to get, but it could be a pop him and drop him. I don't know a whole lot about Luke's game, but if he's a good putter, I mean, this could be a bloodbath, if he's a good putter. But if he's not, it could probably put a lot of pressure on Will here, and then you're going to have some probably pretty steady play between Yags and Harletto. I like that group. I think Hackers takes this match. It's going to be a close one, though. I think it may be closer than people think. Give me the Hackers in this match, maybe like 2-1.
Canadan, where are you at? I know we were lucky we got to play with Harletto.
Tie.
All right.
No, I'm not serious at all. Here's what the interesting thing is, and there's already been some discussion. Luke is bringing in the handicap of all handicaps, the very interesting like 30-ish. You know what I mean? So he's a massive wild card. Where does this 30 lie? Is he wild off the tee and a spectacular putter? I know plenty of them. So the idea that it's shamble is a really, really hard thing for a low cap or two mid caps to recover from when you have a guy who can put it in the middle of the fairway and another guy who's not dealing with his typical miss or his typical error. I think there's a big challenge there. It all comes down to obviously Will doing what he can do, and then Luke capitalizing on the mountain of pops.
Yep,
I think it's gonna be good. I made Hackers the favorite here. I think Harletto being able to tee it and actually play it after 3 years, I think that's going to come through at the end of the day. But it should be a fun one to watch right out of the gate. Switching over now, match 2, moving down the list. We've got Raider Boost and Yukon Living going against JT Ub 17, JT Ub 17, and Brown Dog. Again, you start to see the consistency on the Hackers. You've got the low mid going up against the low high. How are they going to pair off each other? We'll start with Canadan first on match 2.
So when you pick them as the favorite, that means you pick them to win, right?
That is correct.
Really? You're not like a full blue roster. Did you actually take this seriously, or you throw away the homer for only your commentary? Because no one has added Golfers Anonymous's wonderful contributions in the comment section, just roasting you for your Paradise obsession. So let's just get that out of the way and say, shout out to you, Cody. You're killing it, man. That's hilarious. That's hilarious. Here's what I want to say. I don't know J-Tub, but I do know Brown Dog. He is one of the more interesting people I've ever met in my life. I don't think he's ever met a situation that he didn't fully control and or entertain from. But I'll tell you what, man, Raider Boost and Yukon look like a really strong pairing at 4.1 and 9.7. Kind of both West Coasters. So I don't know. Once again, it falls on the big guy. What does that 16 point to do when he gets put in a good spot? And are those spots his good spots? Tie.
Another tie. Literally, what do you got?
Yeah, I mean, you see a little bit of a pattern here with Dax and its pairings. You got kind of this low mid pairing again, which I like this. You're gonna, me, I live in the realm of like, the 8 to 9 handicap golfer, and probably the part that I struggle with the most is off the tee. That's where I lose strokes. Iron play's pretty solid, decent, pretty solid around the greens as well. Can get really hot with the putter. I mean, again, you take maybe Raider Boost is really solid off the tee, and you put Yukon in some really good spots if that's his kind of downfall to why he's a 9. And it could get away from the other team early. It just really depends. But then also on the other side of this, I like what Jeremy's done. I mean, he's taken a low and putting him with somebody that's a little bit higher. And, maybe we don't know a lot about J-Tub's game, but if he struggles off the tee and Brown Dog's able to put him in some really good spots, I mean, that 16 could look like a 4. I mean, it just really depends. So I think this match is going to be really close, and I could see it going either way. But if I have to go one way, give me Hackers one up here.
All right. I mean, clearly, when I set the lines, Canadan, I tried to put my homerism aside and take that analytical brain out. Now that said, seeing J-Tub carve 2 birdies, That saying,
Okay.
new data point, not Paradise Homer, new data point.
Okay.
I think if this line was to move, it's going to move closer to a pick 'em than where it sits on the opening numbers.
Give me the money line, he says.
There's nothing more predictable than what you just did.
Gotta love it.
I love it. Yep.
Match 3. Love this match. We got the captains. You know, they guaranteed earlier that we will see a captain's singles match, but the way the matchups worked in Shamble, we're going to get them right out of the gate. You got J-Dax partnered with Nate Less Than 80, MT Bloco, JD Tox. What are you guys thinking? Let's go Canadan.
Okay. Yeah, this is an interesting one for me. Very similar in numbers for Team Hackers, which is interesting. And we've seen a lot of variety from, at least from Jeremy's side of the fence. So to see the potential that two guys are going to play effectively the same kind of game, it could actually play in their favor because they're both going to be comfortable, expecting similar scores with similar potentials. But here's the interesting part. Jeremy, when he gets hot with his driver, is fairway machine. Absolutely incredible. Like over the last couple of years, his success with Cobra clubs has been really fun to see. And one of the things that I think would benefit my boy Cherry, or MT Bloco, as you call him, would be just getting really tight to the green with a bunch of pops to work with. So yeah, I mean, that level of confidence and potential there is going to be really taxing for Hackers if they can't do a little bit of that ham and egg you need to do as similar handicaps to win a match. Tie.
Literate.
Here's what I think about this match. I think this is a kind of a critical match in the Shamble piece because, one, you get the captains out there, and what better way to get an edge over you already know who you're playing in singles. What better way to get an edge over who you're playing in singles than to take down this match or outplay the other captain? That being said, I've seen Jeremy hot with the driver in alt shot. He, it didn't matter how short or how long the hole was. He's pulling driver. He's hitting it, and he's hitting it down the fairway. I've seen that. I've also seen Dax make every putt he looks at. So just make sure you leave the pin in, and it's going to hit the pin and go in every single time. I've also seen that. But what I do like about this is Dax has put himself, he's got a mid pairing here. To Dan's point, there could be some very similar games. So, that could very well play to their advantage where, they're in similar spots, whether it's off the tee, hitting similar yardages that they're used to, nothing really out of their element. But, again, I think J-Dax already has a little bit of an edge over MT Bloco, as you call it, from the Ben Hogan experience at Hammock Beach when he took him down in the match there. So he's already got one up there from that match. And so is that riding in the back of his mind there? I hate to say this, but I'm going to go with Team Paradise here on this one, and another close one. Give me them 2-1.
Can we just, before you share, Scuba, and I'm definitely not derailing this too hard. There's a little bit of information in the chat from Mr. Nate G that says if J-Dax hits the driver well, it's over. I wonder why. Interesting.
That tells me what that does is it tells me is that his loss of strokes is the reason that he's in 11 is tee game. And if Dax is able to put them in the fairway, it may be all over.
Could be. That'll be definitely something to watch. So in this one, I've seen JD Tox when he gets on that roll with the driver, and you put MTB Loco, shout out to KY Golfer, set me straight, MTB Loco. You put him in the fairway with the pops, and I think that's where the edge is. So I've got Paradise the favorite here in match 3. So moving down, match 4, we've got M Ward and Magic Spell going up against Dan 44 and Jose. You see the low mid from Paradise, low high from Hackers. You've got the Little Rat, 16-2 record, always tough. We'll start with Illiterate on match 4.
Yeah, so this is Dax's only low-high pairing that he's got, and then you've got kind of a low-mid pairing here on the other side of that. I think Dax really wanted to get M. Ward and because he's got the most experience out of anybody on his team. And I think he really wanted to get him in a spot where he could guarantee him a point. But he draws the little rat here, and the little rat, again, he's tough to beat. But Magic Spell, I've played with him. I played with him at Distance Bash. And, the guy's got some game. He also got some tricks up his sleeve as well. So you kind of got to watch him. The ball could just appear out of nowhere. I don't know. But anyhow, I like the upset here. Give me M. Ward and Magic Spell in a close one up over the Little Rat and Dan.
That's a big call going against the Little Rat. I like it.
I don't think M. Ward is bigger than the moment. There's a lot of people that are going to be intimidated playing the Little Rat. I don't think M. Ward's that guy.
Is this your lead pipe lock for Saturday?
It's not a lead pipe.
Okay. Good to know. Well,
It's
we know your lead pipe's a wet noodle, but we'll go there later. Canadan.
It's the late night wagon loader because it's the last match of the day for Shamble.
All right. Canadan, what are you thinking? Match 4.
Yeah, so here's my prediction, okay? Are you ready for it? Number 1, M. Ward changes his forum name on Monday to Little Ward. Number 2,
put
no.
KY Golfer's comment up there.
Let's see what we got. Yeah, so here's what I think is really interesting. Wardy has the same sort of style of play, I would say, as a Little Rat. They've both got a chip on their shoulders when they get out there. Wardy's a little bit more, what's the word for it? Where Jose is gonna get under your skin. I think Wardy's just oblivious to it. So it's like a perfect mix. Not to mention, these boys have a history. I mean, they sat on a seesaw at the PGA show together, which at either that one or the one after one, Wardy got sacked by a golf grip. So I mean, he's been there, he's been in the moment, he's participated and arguably won a Morgan Cup despite himself as captain. So he knows what it's like to go out there and deal with people like Little Rat. The best part is it's kind of like looking in a mirror. So the idea that Jose has been eliminated in match 1 by all versions of the truth, I think here is actually a benefit to hackers. Now, does that apply to when they actually go out and play golf? I don't know. We'll see. It'll be interesting. But I really like the idea of those two going head to head. And if I could pick a singles match, I would love to see those two just absolutely battle. Not to mention, Wardy shot 5 strokes better than Hose today. So if we're counting at home, which we are, tie.
Absolutely are.
Tie.
Yeah, I noticed that score there, and that might be another one that line might move if we were shifting from an opening lines. So let's switch gears now. Now we're going to move into alt shot. So instead of the 18-hole Shamble, pretty quick turnaround from a tee time standpoint. I think the biggest interest here, hackers kept their partnerships together from the morning session. Paradise played a little bit of mix and match. So before we dive into 5, what are y'all's thoughts there? Good idea, bad idea? Big deal, small deal, no deal? Illiterate?
I think it can go 2 ways. I think if you come out of this morning session and you've had success and you kind of feed off each other pretty well, I think it's going to play really well into that as you go into alt shot. However, if you get drummed or, you don't have a lot of chemistry there, there's going to leave a lot of doubt going in there, So I think it's going to be feast or famine basically for the team actually. And I don't hate it. I don't hate it at all. I don't think when you look at the handicaps and stuff like that, and again, I don't know a ton about a lot of these guys' games. I don't know that Dax had a lot of options here to not do that, but I think it could be. I think it's going to be feast or famine here for them.
All right, Canadan, big deal, small deal, no deal.
It's a potential deal. I mean, I've done it plenty of times where getting a fresh partner for round 2 or getting a new partner for round 2 is a very refreshing thing. I've also gotten it to where we have so much momentum going that you feel like you lose a little bit of that trying to learn a new game going into the second round. So, it's all about preparation here. Do they have familiarity with each other? Have they spent quite a bit of time getting to know each other and understanding what kind of people they'll be in the card, what kind of games they'll be bringing to the table. I think those are really important components to it. If Hackers rolls in round one, I think this plays heavily into their favor for round two. If they struggle in round one, I think it's very challenging. What I like for Paradise is you roll the dice with it in a very positive way, and it spreads out. We've had many months to get ready for this. The excitement of showing up for your partner twice in one day, two different partners, that could be a really positive thing.
Yep, definitely.
Yeah. That's where I'm at. I mean, I rode that positivity. I had a great partner in alt shot, and we had some fun together. But we'll get into this year, match 5. You've got Yagley and Shelby, but Paradise counters strong with Brown Dog and Will plays golf. So you got two of the lower handicaps for Paradise out of the gate for alt shot. Canadan, what's your thoughts on match 5?
Yeah, I don't know. This was an interesting one. I mean, Will didn't put up the round he probably expected to play today. So the idea it's a low cap, I mean, he could be looking at tomorrow's round as a challenge. And now full clarity. I mean, everyone seemed to struggle a little bit today. It looked like a tough course. Apparently there's some 4 putts going on. I don't know. I don't want to name any names. Go to the forum and look for yourself. But the idea that low here, it only really matters if they're playing good golf. The favor goes to the guys who get the pops if everyone's playing a similar game, which we saw a fair bit of that today. So, I mean, I like Yags and Harletto very much here, but I'll never bet against Brown Dog at this point because that man, he covers. I don't know what it is about him. That dude gets up on the tee box and you just feel like he's going to cover. So, Ty.
Illiterate. What do you think in match 5?
I mean, I think this is a very big key match, here for both teams. You got Jeremy coming and throwing out 2 lows, and I think that's a great strategy, in a format like this. You put 2 strong golfers together. We kind of talked a little bit about it with, Dax and his pairing in Shamble. I mean, you got 2 guys, very even caps, very close. They probably play a very similar game potentially. And if that's the case, they, could work really well. That being said here, I love again, I don't know, again, I don't know what the strategy is with, who's going to tee off the 5 holes, who's going to tee off 4 holes, whatever. But, Yags and Harletto, I think this is going to be just an absolute battle. And this could be fireworks. And I think you've got them at like plus 155, minus 170. I think this is closer to a pick 'em personally, but I'm going to go. I think this ends up in a tie. Like I'm going half a point.
So I'm not clearly by the line. I said I'm not going to jump on the tie bandwagon for this. Brown Dog, like you said, he plays a lot of competitive golf, whether in various, events and matches. And then when you pair him with Will plays golf, I just think there's a little too much firepower with Paradise in that one. But match 6, Raider Boost and Yukon Living, J-Tub, MTB Loco, low mid, high. It looks like maybe Paradise is up to old tricks of trying to grind out a split in alt shot and go with the low lows and see if you can grind out a half or steal a point, pop them and drop them. Canadan, we'll start with you on match 6.
So I'm going to make a bold prediction and say that both of these, and as much as it's going to sound like I'm saying it's a tied in total, I'm probably going to say it at the end, but my thought is if one team wins that first match we talked about, the other team is going to win this one. And I say that because it's really interesting throughout your double highs, and the amount of potential it comes with that is so significant. Because it's not even like they're bad golfers by any stretch. I mean, they're just higher than everyone else. So the idea that they can go out there and get a free pop a hole, I mean, you could technically hit 7 irons off the tee and still be favorited by the time you catch the green. So, yeah, I mean, I think this is Paradise's match to win and lose, frankly. It seems like Raider Boost and Yukon are strong enough players that they'll maintain themselves, but the potential here is for Paradise to steal. I don't see why they wouldn't, unless they just have a challenging day. At the end of the day, though, it's a tie.
Literate, what are you thinking on match 6?
You know, I think it's a big risk throwing out kind of 2 highs like that. You know, you got a 16 and you got an 18, and it's really going to, I think this all is going to very much depend on, you know, is the ball in play after the tee shot, you know, or are we on a, you know, scavenger hunt, you know, looking for Easter eggs? I don't know. If that's the case, I think it plays way better to the, you know, to the lower handicap, you know, perspective. That being said, I mean, you know, UConn living, very similar handicap to me. You know, my downfall a lot of times is the tee shot. So, you know, again, do you have Raider Boost teeing off on, you know, 5 holes versus 4 holes here? You know, who's the best tee ball hitter out of this other group? I mean, this is one I think could go either way, but I think it, to me, in my mind, I think it favors heavily towards the lower caps. You know, just again, and this is no disrespect to anybody that's a higher cap, but they're a higher cap for a reason. Let them make the mistakes. You go out there and you just put the ball in front of you. Let them make the mistakes and have to try to play the pops and catch up.
That's exactly what I was saying about hitting 7 irons, right? Because why did they get to the number they are? That's always the question. How did they get there? Is it a lack of putting skills? I mean, do you have lead hands? Do you fat the ball every time you try and chip something? Or do you have a driver issue? So can they find that and isolate it and say, hey, if we're 100 yards out and you are a really bad wedge player, just punch it to the green. We have a stroke to work with. Who cares if we're not all over the pin, right? Like there's got to be strategy there. And that's where I think this sort of wild card potential comes into play, right, Mike?
Exactly. I mean, you're exactly right. I mean, it really depends on how they, you know, how aggressive or how conservative they want to play. And, you know, again, yeah, I mean, I mean, this thing could go either way. I think it's going to be fun. I think this match could be fun to watch, and it could be a wild card for like match of the day as well. I mean, Alt Shot just has fireworks written all over it. I love it.
So much fun. And you know, when you look at match 6 and then we'll transition to match 7, again, you see the 2 of the higher caps from Paradise going against 2 mids. You know, when I saw these matches combined come out, realizing that Paradise flipped up their pairings, man, I wanted to be in the team room to understand, you know, what stats are they looking at? What are they thinking in terms of these pairings? Is there something there that is going to surprise some folks in either of these 2 matches? You know, I think Hackers, you know, being favored in both, for me, has more strength, but is there something there in the team room that's going to come out on Saturday? But we'll dig in, you know, specifically on 7 here, mid-high, Literate. We'll start with you.
Yeah, I mean, this is kind of another interesting group here. You know, again, I don't know a lot about Luke's game, but as a 30 handicap, he's going to get a lot of pops. How does he manage those pops that he's going to get? Because between Dax, Nate, and Dan, you know, there might be one pop or so that Dax and then Nate might get off of Dan, but really it's going to be Luke that's going to be getting all the pops here. So I'm interested to see how team, so it's Alt Shot. So, you know, Luke and Luke and Dan are going to be the guys getting all the pops here. So, I mean, this could be a tough, very formidable. And again, I haven't looked to see, you know, what 9 they're playing and how the par 3s break down. But, you know, if you got an iron and, you know, in Dan's hand there and he puts them on the green, I mean, that could be pretty lethal, especially if they're getting some pops there. But I like Dax and Nate here. Give me them to win this, like maybe 2-1 or one up here.
Canadan, what are your thoughts on 7?
Do we have a percentage? What's the percentage of handicaps being used in alt shot?
I don't have that offhand.
Okay.
Let me see if I can look it up while you're talking.
Normally, when I play, it's like 50%, I think. I could be wrong. 50% of total, which is interesting because if that's the case, then it's 10 pops total. But here's the challenge, right? When you have a wild card like Luke, we don't know how he arrived at his number. So one bad swing counts for at least 2 strokes, typically, right? Bad swing. So, you know, we can talk all day long about where those 10 strokes will help, but where will they hurt? You know, and that's kind of the nice thing about having 2 similar playing. And as much as I think it's cool in Shamble, I think it really plays in Alt Shot. If you have guys that are similar styles of golf, hit the same kind of number, play the same level of game, I mean, that's when you're really getting into an interesting potential of, can they just kind of ignore the moment and say, let's just play our game like we normally would at home and let them screw up. And that's what I would do playing against a higher handicap. I would do everything I could to ignore what the other team was doing and hope that it'd come out on top. But at the end of the day, it's a tie. So
end of the day, it's a tie. Love it. So we got one more. Showstopper here. M Ward, Magic Spell, JD Talks, Jose. I mean, if you were going to follow one of Alt Shot, this would get a lot of attention. It's going to get a lot of attention. It's going to be exciting. Canadan, we'll start with you.
So do you think Jeremy hit himself with Hose here, or do you think Jeremy hit Hose with himself?
Does not compute.
I don't know, man. This is an interesting one. The benefits from the morning round with Wardy and Magic Spell, I mean, they're clearly playing from two different atmospheric pressure levels. So whether they can connect in an alt shot format is definitely an interesting question. But the other side of it is we've got two low caps here who know how to play golf. They've been at the Morgan Cup before. They know how to deal with the pressure. Is that enough to just, wipe the floor? I have no idea. When it all comes down to it, though, I think this one is up to Wardy and Magic to win versus Jeremy and Jose to lose. Tie.
Illiterate, what do you got?
Yeah, I mean, I've gotten to play with Hose and Jeremy before, and both of them are very strong. Not gotten to play with Wardy, but I have seen Magic Spell in action. That being said, I mean, here's one thing to kind of consider, and I know you've got them listed as a heavy favorite, and I agree, but they're going to get some pops here. Ward and Magic Spell is going to get some pops here. How many, I'm not sure, but depending on how they use those pops, I mean, it could very well keep this thing closer than we think, So, but I do like JD Talks. I do like Jose here. And, again, I think this is going to be a fun match to watch. I think the pops could be the difference maker, but, give me Team Paradise here. I like them probably 2-1 in this situation.
I would assume it's somewhere close to 10 strokes, isn't it? Based on the information here.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see. So. We'll see when
you get a hole where the double pop. I mean, and you got M Ward teeing off or something. I mean, that you may want to just write that hole off.
So I'm with you there, Illiterate. I've got Paradise as a pretty heavy favorite. This might be the heaviest favorite line that I set out there. So it's going to be a show. It's going to be exciting. Now we get to the rubber meets the road. Going to get into the picks. Illiterate, who you got?
So just overall picks. So again, let's switch gears for just a second. We know at least one match in singles. So I think we should at least give a prediction there. We got the captain's match, fair. Which I love. The captain's match is back this year. So, I think it depends on, what Jeremy shows up, here. Is it the Jeremy that's driving the ball, got a lot of confidence, or is it the Jeremy that gets the shanks out of nowhere? On the other side of that, is it the JDAX that's making putts from all over the place? Or is it the JDAX that, has no speed control in the greens? I mean, what are we going to get from these two? I mean, it could be a wild card. And what are the pops laying there? We got Dax with what he's playing is about a 12, Jeremy around 5 or 6. So he's probably going to get 5-6 pops here. If he manages those pops well, he could definitely pull this out. And I guess I just can't bet against my boy here. So I'm gonna go JDAX in the upset. That's your barking dog pick of the week. Give me JDAX in the captain's match. Dan, what do you think about the captain's match?
Oh man, I don't know. Because last year we saw two versions of Jeremy. The year before he was a buzzsaw, but that was just
to that point he did get skull drugged by OITW.
I don't know, man. This is one of those things where you could probably change your opinion on how this match is going to go every single hole of the actual match itself. What I want is those two to just be in a dogfight all the way to 18. I do not want that to end early at all.
I want to see all 18 for sure. And I know Dax is really excited about that. And, you know, to that point, like you talked about the rivalry, I'll tip my hat to Dax. He, you know, again, his last time that he got to play in a singles match, you know, didn't fare very well before that. And he showed up and played. He didn't give away a lot of holes. He hit a lot of greens, and then he made a lot of putts. Can he do it again? I think he needs to feed off of that energy. To go back to your original question, Scoob, overall picks here. You know, being a Team Hacker member, I think, unlike J-Man, I don't think I can pick against my team. So I'm going Team Hackers here for the win, and they're going to bring the cup back to Yags.
All right.
And we already know Dan's going to say tie, so let's just go to Scooby.
Yeah, I mean, Cody told me to bet on tie, say tie. So, yeah, okay, tie.
Tie. Tie. Wow. I mean, on me, see, this is tough. This is really tough, but
no, it's not. Just say it.
We already know you're going Paradise.
3-peat. Let's do it. That's where the pick is. I can't pick against my boys. I can't pick against my captain. I think they've got enough to get it done. You know, we'll see how Saturday goes. But it's going to be a blast this weekend to watch it all go down. Final thoughts here, wrapping it up, kind of right around an hour. Appreciate everyone joining us here live.
Yeah.
But let's get a couple final thoughts, illiterate.
Man, I'm just Dan, thanks for coming out and hanging out with us tonight. I know you got some travel coming up and we bumped it up a night. So Scoob, thanks for being flexible. Dan, appreciate you joining us. To all these people in the, you know, that are dropping comments, it means so much. It makes it fun for me anyway. I don't speak for everybody, but it makes it really fun for me to just see the viewership and the people participating along. So thank you for that. And back to what we're really talking about here, the Morgan Cup. I mean, man, I get so excited to think about it. And it's like, man, I'd love to go back and get that opportunity again. But it's really kind of one of those things that might be once in a lifetime for people, unless you're Jeremy, who's been 3 years in a row, or Dan, who's got to go twice, or M. Ward maybe going twice. So, you know, again,
I think this is 5 years for Jeremy, actually.
Is it 5? Okay.
Yeah, 5 straight years. It's just not three wins. Something happened a few years back that he doesn't like to talk about. So,
okay. Bringing bad thoughts into his head. I love it. So really, Dan is picking Team Hackers. You know, he just doesn't want to say it, and he's just trying to play the middle. But anyway, I'm super stoked for this. This is going to be great. We got 2 fun courses, a lot of great golf, some great THPers in this, and it's going to be, you know, and a great sponsor in Cobra Puma. And they do a great job. I can't wait to see the scripting this year, see how these guys, you know, look out on the course, and just see how they play this equipment that they've had for a little bit, getting to put it in play. So that's my final thoughts, and go Team Hackers.
Yeah, I mean, I'll echo off that. I mean, I'm just so excited. This event is so good. You know, seeing pictures of the guys playing with Yagley and Jose. You know, J-Dax did a live with Yagley from the Cobra shop. Seeing the support from Cobra Puma, always great. I think for the folks that have played, you know how much that means and how exciting that is. You know, knowing the camaraderie and the friendships that were being made this weekend, and then knowing that all of us on the forum, we get to check it out and just have a ball this weekend, you know, pounding that F5 button, seeing what's happening, seeing what's going to happen next. I'm just fired up. So I'm looking forward to it, ready to go. And Canadan, we will give you final thoughts, and you can send us off, close us out.
Is that a safe thing to do?
No, it's not at all, but we want to put on a show.
So here's what I really like about this year. And it's not like it's different from any other year, but I've had the thrill of meeting a number of people from both teams to this point. You know, shout out to guys like MT Bloco, aka Cherry, for showing up in Kentucky, him and Brown Dog. We had a great time down there. It was really fun getting to know them. And I've always said this to every team I've been a part of and encouraging. Listen, if you expose your experiences to the community, if you share your process and you make them a part of it, this is so much more fun for us to digest and be a part of with you. Not to mention, if you do it right, you can go back for years to come and read through thousands of posts talking purely about your experience in somewhere you wouldn't normally get to go, doing something you wouldn't normally get to do. So the idea that I've made those connections this year already, shout out to Paradise for that. Hackers, guys, this long time coming. I'm so excited for my friend Shelby, aka Harletto Scara, that he finally gets to experience this. And big shout out to Yags and Hose for showing up early, hanging out with the boys. I know they've been available to them during this process, which I think is super cool. Something again we just do not get to experience on a daily basis. So, yeah, I mean the whole experience is just special, and now it's up to them to provide a couple days of pure entertainment while we lunaticers hang out in our house or at our office or on the golf course trying to figure out who's about to win and who's about to tie. So, yeah, I mean, I'm just I'm pumped that everyone came out tonight, had this chat with us. I hope we were entertaining, and cheers to a great weekend coming up.
Thank you both for joining. Thanks for everyone for being here, and check out the forum, the action all weekend long.